to DACA. We'll find all your cousins. I'll tell them you love them, and I'll do what's right. We'll stand at the embassy. We're protesting everything, and I'll take your picture and you'll sing my song. It goes, I don't want you anymore. I wish that you were here, and I don't want you anymore.
Thank you.
I wish that you were here.
Hello and welcome back, everybody, to this CanAsian Life.
I'm Sue.
And I'm Gabby. And as always, we don't have Rekha because she is busy having a great time and vacationing. But in the meantime, you have us. And today we are joined by
Raneece Buddan. We are here in Amiskwichi-Waskahikan, also known as Edmonton in the Métis homeland, and we're really excited to be here to share stories about CanAsian artists and you know, that CanAsian life. Raneece, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Raneece Buddan. I'm a Jamaican artist. Currently reside here in Edmonton. Yeah, I'm a visual artist. I work mostly in oil painting, clay sculpting, woodworking, weaving, almost all the mediums, just kind of like figuring out what works best for me, touching on Afro-Caribbean ancestry and Indo-Caribbean ancestry, and yeah, I'm here.
That's so cool. I mean, as someone else, like I too am Indo-Caribbean, so it feels like really exciting to meet someone else in that same, you know, diaspora. So, you know, I'm excited to chat with you. And like that, like mixed medium work is so cool. Yeah, so I think
we've been doing a little research ourselves.
Okay.
And we learned that someone likes certain snacks.
Okay.
And so we brought some out here. I want you to tell us whether we did a good job or the interns should be fired. But that's neither here nor there.
So we got the snack bag.
And we have ba-bum.
Okay,
But also hold on.
Sweet chili.
Bang.
Wow.
Oh, we got the Cool Runnings run.
Bang.
Okay.
These are great. Oh my gosh.
Bang and bang.
Our intern really nailed it
Yeah,
today.
our intern was like, I'm getting everything. So.
We got the green plantain.
Okay, I haven't tried this one yet. So.
Yeah, that one looks
So
really good.
Which one is the best of the...
I don't know.
Oh.
I feel like I don't mind the Grace brand. I haven't tried Cool Running before.
Cool Runnings is
so-
usually really
okay,
good.
okay.
Yeah.
I
We'll see.
Well, let's dig into them. Let's see what's going on.
Everyone pop one. Tell us. You're gonna love this audio, aren't you?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
It's flat and chips. Yeah.
Yeah. Do they like make you think of anything like when you eat them?
Not really. It's
No.
flat and chips.
These ones are really nice, actually.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Is the Cool Runnings worth it?
They're pretty
I
good.
think so, yeah.
They're like thicker.
Yeah, for sure. I like when it's a thicker one.
These ones are really good too.
All right, I'm gonna say these ones, then these ones, then these ones. Yeah? No?
Okay.
No? No
I don't
ones?
know. I kind of really am digging these. They're
Sweet
sweet chili, sweet chili flavored Grace ones. I really like these.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to hang on to these. I'm
That's right.
delicious.
They'll be here for the entire show. Hold on. One more, I promise, and then we can continue.
Exactly.
I'll do my job. I
It's
promise.
just so good. You don't want to not eat them. Great. Well, I'm glad that we dig the plantain chips. We're all about the chips. Do you have a reason why they're your favorite? Like, is there like something about them that like sets them apart from like any other chip?
Or did the intern get it wrong?
I think in terms of Jamaican chips, I definitely like banana chips and plantain chips, but banana chips are a bit harder to find, so I go for the plantain chips. But it's just a regular home snack. It's nice to have it sometimes. Yeah.
Is there a brand that you usually go for that's better than these ones?
For plantain chips, I haven't found the best brand yet. I'm still trying to find it.
Especially overseas. Like it's hard to like come here and like find it like you would find like back home.
Exactly.
It's so hard. Like that's something that I love about plantain chips for me is like for like I don't know, my life, my family like loves these, but when you come here it's really hard to find. But like in Guyana you can find them anywhere. Even in Toronto you can find them anywhere and like all kinds of brands, right?
And they're more like more the homemade type styles. I like those ones. You can tell they're very golden.
Yes.
Really good ones. Yeah.
Totally.
Sweet. No, these are good. I'm definitely stealing some for later.
Have you had them before?
Yes, actually, I've had them in Jamaica.
Oh,
that's right,
okay.
I was gonna transition to that later, but I guess you drew it out of me. No, I think I went there in 2016.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, good time. One time, go to Jamaica. Great.
Where in Jamaica were you?
I went Montego Bay and then is it Negril?
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
We were there for a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. It was amazing. My skin was glowing, like
I believe that.
literally from just being in the ocean. I was just like, yes, because like originally like that's where I kind of grew up, is always beside a sea, and so there is no ocean here, and I was like, oh. And then once I got there, I'm like, yes, everything's amazing. And I didn't realize you could literally like swim with dolphins, because I was like, oh my god. So as soon as we went, I'm like, what is that? I'm like, dolphins. I'm like, you can just swim with dolphins? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, that's awesome.
I'm from Jamaica. I've never swam with dolphins.
They made me believe that it was like an everyday thing. But I was just as impressed. I was like, oh my god, like every day. I was just like, wow. And they're like, yeah, that's a regular Tuesday. I'm like, really?
That's
like,
it's a tourist thing, you know.
Okay,
and islanders, you know, a lot of people don't experience all of the touristy attractions. So I can't even swim, so so you know.
No, I was just
once
like,
I do
wow,
learn, I guess I'll go swim. with
Yeah, you're gonna
dolphins.
have to now.
Yeah.
I was just in the Bahamas and they and you can swim with pigs. They have like cute little pigs you go swim with.
The pigs, right?
Yeah, like there's like a whole island.
What?
You can like go swim with like really cute pigs.
Like
Pigs.
Yeah. Big.
they're just
Huge,
chilling.
yeah.
Yeah, big old pigs. And you can just go swim with them. It's really exciting.
How did that?
I didn't go.
But how do you find that out? What do you just push?
They
bunch
have
of
like
pigs
a whole
and,
billboard like when you're coming from the airport.
It's a main attraction.
It is. It's a big deal. Yeah. It was a whole
I think
thing.
it was probably just one of those islands. A pig got there, maybe two.
Actually, most likely two.
Like, look, they can swim. Let's bring them in.
They mated, you know. Then there's an island just with pigs. I think that's basically just how it started.
Oh, totally.
I know it's an attraction. Yeah.
That's actually cooler than dolphins, I'm gonna say. Because dolphins, like, they already are
They're
in the
everywhere,
water, you're like,
kinda.
whatever. But pigs, I'd be like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, back to the art.
That's right.
We're here for the art. What's inspiring you? What's getting you excited to create things these days?
Right now, I think mostly researching and just trying to find out more about different textiles from India, from different areas in West Africa. That's kind of what's keeping me like motivated to do art, just like more research, because I feel like it's very easy to be kind of stagnant because you know this process, you've been doing it for years. So like doing more research and like bringing on more mediums onto my usual, course of arting. That's kind of what's keeping me motivated pretty much.
I'm gonna ask a controversial thing here. If you could pick one thing, style, or method that you're like, enough, what style is that? That you're like,
Like never do it again?
Yeah, I've seen too much of it, or like, over it.
Like, I don't, what do you mean? Like for my own work, my own practice? Like, okay.
See?
Probably printmaking. It's not my favorite.
Okay.
But I've like started doing it more recently because I've been like making my own textiles, so I've like needed to. So I'm starting to try and re-love it, kind of. Yeah, well, like if I'm doing the block printing type methods, like the Indian methods, then I enjoy that more versus the more traditional, like what they teach at the university. I don't really care for that. But like if I'm doing like more block printing stuff, yeah.
No, it's crazy. There's a lot of things that like, because like Harv and I went to school for filmmaking. And a lot of times we're like, I don't like how you guys do this. And school's like, this is how it's done. And then we went to the real world. We're like, no, I can do whatever I want, and that's the style. Like, have you found that you're usually more like, I'll do this for my project, but as soon as I'm out the door and done here, I'm doing my own style? Or like, are they usually kind of closer to accurate? Like, how do you find?
I feel like, well, I graduated in 2020, so when I was in school, I feel like I was always like, I'm gonna do what I want to do anyways. So I didn't really like. I took the critique, but
a very necessary part.
Yes, this is going here and out here.
Yeah, but like, if it was absolutely valuable, absolutely I follow. But like, in terms of concepts, I don't think they were very pushy as to like you need to do this and that. I think in the beginning, just like to know the fundamentals, it makes sense to follow exactly what the professor is saying. But like, as you get to like your fourth year, that's like complete freedom in what you do. There might be some classes where the teachers are a bit more, what's the word?
Strict.
Yeah.
In
like,
arts,
and then you're like,
yeah.
but I was always the more independent type person, so I'm just gonna do what I wanted to do anyways. 'Cause I'm like,
well, I mean, you're paying for it.
Pretty
You should
much.
do what you want to do.
I was like, I think you should be guiding me, not exactly like telling me to do this step exactly this way. You know, so.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% because it's always like bizarre that they're like, there's these rules. And you're like, but I thought being creative was not rules. Like, no. There's rules. You have to follow them. Like, do you really? Do you actually follow rules? Because it was bizarre because so many times you'd want to like go outside and experiment. Like, we definitely want to do like films and like we try to do like trunk shots and different things. And our teacher's like, this would get you fired. No one would hire you for this. And we're like, but they love it now. I don't know what. But during school, they're very like, here are like 4 rules and it's so strict. And you're like, it's really weird. So I'm glad that experience is like a similar vibe. Did you find the same thing?
Oh yeah. Oh totally. Well, look, I quit theater school because I was just like, this is not it.
Enough. Yeah.
I was like, this does not make sense. Especially like, you know, in a racialized body in a place that's so colonial, it just does not make sense. You're being taught practices that are not sustainable. I mean, I shouldn't speak for everybody. I know for me, it didn't work for me. And I could see like consistent, I could see all the ways that it was consistently working against the outcomes that should have been supporting the entire population of students, as opposed to just the ones who could like afford to be there consistently.
Makes sense.
You know, so that was like a really big thing for me as well. But even in terms of just like practice, like I'm grateful for all the things that I learned, but I've innovated a lot of what I've learned to like suit my own needs.
Absolutely.
We should
So
start our own art school.
done.
Sort of.
When I was a kid, I was like, I'm gonna start an art school. I was like, dance, theater, music. Cause like when I was younger, I was a very artsy kid. So I was like, I did dance when I was 3, then I started doing piano. I was like a theater kid. I was doing the arts. I was like, I'm gonna have a school. I'm gonna have art. I don't know when that's gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna happen.
But like, what brought you kind of into the arts at like 3? Why were you like? Was it just like love that you felt it, or was there anyone that kind of motivated you into it at that age? Like anyone you looked up to? Like, what was the primary like? This is what I love.
I think at 3, I just
Like
you know, you're at school. They're like, do dance. You're like, okay, you know. But then I just love dance, and so I just kept doing it. And I don't know, I just found creating to be a good outlet, and then in whatever way it was. So in theater, I just love being on stage, so that kind of worked hand in hand with dancing as well. And then the arts, just like love creating like with natural hands. So I thought I was gonna do theater, and I was like, that, or dance. I was like, that's not realistic. And then I became an artist. So I don't know, it didn't really matter either way. But yeah, I don't know. I think I was just.
What's the culture around like being like a full-time artist in Jamaica like?
I don't know, honestly.
Thumbs up, thumbs down.
I don't know. I feel like they're a bit more liberal in like accepting of people being musicians and stuff. I think for the arts, I had art teachers, but I didn't exactly know many full-time artists. Like there weren't people who I saw like day to day or I was in close proximity to. But I think as I've gotten older, like, you know, and actually seeing these people on social media, I've seen a couple like, oh, okay, they're doing their thing, you know.
They exist.
But I wasn't like aware really. I know there's an art school, like a lot of the art students go there, you know, is recognized, everyone appreciates them thoroughly. So that's where I was gonna go. But like in my actual city or like in my school, is other than the art teachers, there weren't many people who were, you know, that was what they wanted to do. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's more because, like, I know definitely from my background, they are not too big when you're like, I want to become an artist. Like, you sure you're not going to become a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer? And you're like, no, I want arts. And like, okay, good luck. Is that the same kind of vibe, or are they more like, sure?
Well, I can only speak for my family, but like my parents, since I was a kid, I was always the artsy kid. So they were like,
Yeah,
for
they're
sure,
like,
I support you 100%. But you know, they're always like the outside family members who are like,
Oh, yeah.
what are you gonna do with the art degree? What jobs can you get with that? And it always a matter of like, here's like a list of jobs I could possibly get with this art degree, you know. But like my parents, they believe in me. They're like, yeah, she's gonna be the richest one out of all. She's gonna take care of us. I'm like, okay.
I believe it.
We have a special page in my autobiography.
Yeah. They're ready for me to make it and like take care of them. Like, okay. No pressure at all. But
Yeah.
That's belief and faith. You want that?
Yeah, that's exactly what you want.
Absolutely.
I was gonna say, have you kind of like, you said that like finding artists in the space has been kind of just difficult. I'm gonna throw one out there that I love doing all the time. Aaron Jordan call me. 5 Artists, 1 Love. Have you ever kind of worked with them? Because I feel like I may have.
I feel like I've
seen
you.
this entire time. I'm like,
but I was like trying to make a connection.
Where has this been? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
For those who are not in the know, 5 Artists, 1 Love is an awesome collective where they kind of aspire to show Black excellence in arts. It happens every Black History Month, so it would be when this is being filmed, unless someone tells me not to say it when this is being filmed. But usually every kind of February, and it's hosted by Aaron Jordan and a bunch of like awesome artists. I've had the privilege of doing it 3, maybe 4 times, but it's awesome. And that's definitely, I'm like, I feel like I must have seen you somewhere. That's awesome.
What's it called again?
5 Artists, 1 Love.
5 Artists, 1 Love. I love that. That's so cool.
So 5 visual artists are like on exhibition at the AGA.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was in it in 2019 and 2021.
Yeah, then I definitely would have seen you.
Yeah.
Did I interview you? Did you have to do an interview with a camera person?
Oh yeah.
You're right.
Really, I'm memorable. That's great. Fantastic.
Oh yeah.
No, that's awesome. No, because I was like, that's interesting. But the entire time you're talking, like, I feel like we bump into each other, but I can't. And I was like, I'm gonna throw it out there. And if you're like, I've never heard of them, like, well, I'm done. That's awesome.
That's so cool. Look at that teeny tiny world.
Yeah, truly, it is. It is crazy because like you do kind of come out of school, and when you don't know anyone, you're like, I'm gonna try different festivals. Some are like not so great, but some are like always nice when like people are excited and passionate and they want to make things happen. Darren definitely is that. Like he makes it happen every year. I don't know how, because like every year he's like, it has to be bigger and it has to have like this many people and the mayor's gonna be there. And I'm like, okay, sure, man. I'm just the camera guy. Whatever you want. Like, go hard. But yeah.
Do you find so you said that you graduated in 2020, but you were part of the exhibition in 2019. What was it like being a part of that as a student?
I was like, okay, this is real. Yeah, I was very, very happy to get that opportunity, because that was my first. I've been in I was in a couple exhibitions prior to that, but they're mostly like school based, like being outside of school. So that was a big thing. So invited my family, like, look, I'm in an art gallery. You know?
Oh, that must have felt amazing.
Yeah, it was a great experience.
And just to like bring your family to the AGA and for them to like see you in action, that's incredible.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's sweet. I'll double down on what she's saying. Like, it's like the whole floor is kind of locked off. You get to like walk in and they have like the sign, and then your stuff is actually put up with your name beside it. It's like when I was going there, I was like, okay, cool, I'll film this, but like it means a whole lot more to be able to see like your name beside artwork in the actual AGA. And it's like you're walking through, and it's like, what an experience. I'm sure you must have been like, ultra proud. Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah, definitely, especially like the 2021 exhibition, because we were on the third floor, so there was more room to actually feel the work and see the work, in its entirety. Like, because, I feel like in order to like really take in the artwork, you need space in the room to do so. So that was a good opportunity, and I was very happy I was in it in that year.
That's so cool. So tell us about your piece, Black Indian? Yes, yes. I want to make sure I got it right. But yeah, I really love the idea behind, exploring both of these identities that are kind of like, I'm going to speak for myself here, but like being like having Indian descent and then also being Caribbean, you've got this like weird like tension between those two identities. So I'm interested to hear like how that is reflected in your work.
Yeah, so for that piece, I feel like it was I started kind of playing around with that concept of like identity, like cultural identity, like in my third year. So I think that one was the end of my third year. No, fourth year. But like that piece was really, I think, the beginning of this concept that I'm continuing to do right now, is like kind of merging these cultures, but like also speaking more so on the discomfort one might feel in certain spaces because you might not fit the mold. Like, I don't exactly look Indian, so like would I feel comfortable wearing this sari in a more Indian space kind of thing, or like outside of Jamaica or the Caribbean? Because I feel like in Jamaica, because we're so used to there being mixes of people in the Caribbean, probably in general, we're so used to seeing these different mix of people, so we can easily identify, okay, you're mixed with Indian, you're mixed with Chinese,
Totally.
we're able to, so like there's no real discomfort in like, oh yeah, I'm Indian, yeah, I'm this, I'm that. But then like coming to a Western country where, okay, you're actually seeing people who are actually from India, who are actually, you're like, oh, I don't think this is, my space. So it's kind of like toggling with that discomfort. And in the actual image, I was like, the figure is kind of figuring out how to put on a sari. So it's like, it's working with that concept of like being unfamiliar but familiar kind of thing.
That is such a gorgeous concept, and I it so resonates with me. This is something that I've actually like struggled with a lot, because like in Guyana, we all put braids in our hair.
Yeah,
braids are just like a common thing. I used to, I would have so many braids, but then I come here and I'm like, I could never. I can't do that here.
Yeah,
but it's like my identity hasn't changed. It's not, it's not. Yeah, it's not different. It's just that I'm in a different space and I have to navigate it differently.
Yeah,
I love the piece as well, because I love that the textiles are like really reminiscent of like different spaces. I love that they're like. Can you speak more? I don't even want to like put words in your mouth. I want to hear what you have to say about like the textiles that you use to like kind of embody that sari.
Yeah. So the sari that I'm wearing was like the first sari I ever had, which is actually like I bought it secondhand when I came to Canada to visit my mom. I was like, oh wow, I can actually get a sari, because like even though in Jamaica I have like Indian family, there's like, because of assimilation to Jamaican culture, there isn't exactly an Indian culture. Assimilation to Jamaican culture, there's not much of a Indian culture that I can grasp onto, other than like through food and sometimes through music. So like to actually get a sari, I was like so happy. So that's where that sari came from. And then the textile in the background is like Dutch wax fabric that is used in a lot of African textiles, and has been adapted by a lot of Africans in their regular clothing and stuff. So it's kind of like just like the dichotomy of those different cultures. So in the beginning, it was more so me like taking what I could and like what is there. That's what I used in my art. But like now, like present day in my practice, I'm making it a point to research the different textiles, and that's like a main part of my practice right now. So I know exactly where it's from and like what these different symbols might mean or what these different colors might mean. But then it was more so like what I found, and what worked in that moment, kind of thing.
That is so cool. That is so cool. That's one of those like concepts that like, because I remember looking at the piece and I was just like, I feel like I have to stare at this for like an hour. I feel like I just have to like look at this and figure out what it means for me.
Yeah.
But like, that's gorgeous.
So then I have to ask, because this will be the most like common question. I actually hate this question, but I'll ask it anyways. Is what kind of like inspires you to kind of create? What are you like very motivated by that makes you go, this is what I want to do? Yeah, see? Yeah, really shot myself in the foot there. That's
What
great.
motivates me to create? I feel like it's just like second nature, and I just create because I feel like that's just what I'm here to do. That I'm just like here to make art, just to create, and I just do it. I don't even know like what motivates me. It's just like second nature, just always create. And like the thing though, I feel like I don't feel like art school gave me the right tools to create art in like the healthy way. I feel like I have an unhealthy way of creating art in that I do a lot at once for long hours.
Why does that sound too familiar?
And then I get so burnt out. So then I need like 2 months to recover.
I need
So,
to
like-
leave right now.
So now it's like I feel like though like it's my like so I feel so guilty when I'm not creating because I know that's what I want to do. So second nature, and also I'm hoping to have more or like create better habits of creating art, so I'm even more motivated.
That's like hit every artist who's ever lived hears that and is like, oh gosh, oh my gosh, totally. One of my best friends, he's doing his master's in New York right now. He's writing musical theater, which is like pretty cool.
course.
But like one of his assignments was like they had to watch the movie Minari and then write like 3 musical sketches, and he really struggled with it. And I was just like, well, yeah, like, why would that ever be a thing that you do? This is a very, like, white man. In what world would he, like, look in the mirror and be like, I'm the one to write the Minari musical? Like, that would never happen.
It's a lot of the expectations and everything are always like, yikes. Because, like, they're, like you said, like, unhealthy is the right word.
Yeah.
Because so many times, like, I'm sure Harvey's probably giggling behind the camera too. And, like, it's like you feel guilty that you're not creating. Then you take like a million things on at once. Then you're like over caffeined and just like, I need to finish this and make it. And then sometimes I always find like what I've made isn't exactly the best stuff that I've done, but it's just because I'm like, I'm not creating, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And then that question always like haunts me into creating some more, where it would be nice if I'm like, wake up and I'm like, I'm excited to do this. And I go and do it. Instead it's like, like all the time. So how have you began to go into the healthy route? Mainly because I want to know.
I said I'm trying to go.
You haven't solved it either.
I'm not there yet.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's-
Like it was like because I have like a major deadline coming up on the 24th, so I'm just like in the studio all the time, and that's when I started thinking, okay.
A bit
I
more
need to-
coffee and I'll do something. Yeah.
And I don't drink caffeine, so I'm just
Wow,
like,
you are doing it on a hard
Yeah,
mode.
you're already ahead of the game. But you know what? I'm starting to figure it out myself. So my advice is, I schedule everything in my calendar, and my rule of thumb is there's 2 things. So everything that I take on has to like meet 3 prongs. Is like, does it make me happy? Does it make me better at my job? And does it make me money? It has to meet at least 2. And then when I'm scheduling my week, I need to have enough space in my calendar so that if I want to make random plans once a week, I have one spot to do that.
okay.
That has changed my entire life. So I'm putting
Interesting.
it out there into the world. Y'all can give it a try too. Everybody trust and believe. I got you.
Okay.
Your
Mama
third
got
point
you.
was making money. That's fascinating. I stop at the first 2 and I'm like, that's good enough. But wow, it's interesting that even in the various different mediums, that this is always kind of an ongoing thing, because it's always like, I don't know, and like I've talked to some guests who are like, imposter syndrome is also a thing where I'm like, I don't know if I'm good enough to do this, but like, there's never gonna be someone that like comes out of the sky and is like, you're good, you know?
You're
Like,
chosen. You're the
have
chosen
to,
one.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you have to decide for yourself. I'm like, but when do I and will I ever decide that like I'm good enough or like I'm at this level? And it's like, yeah, you don't get like reviews. You don't get like, I guess people don't show up to your show or watch your stuff. Then maybe that's your reviews. But like, you never have like an ability to know like I'm in the right place. But it sounds like you kind of knew this is what you wanted to do
Pretty young,
from the jump. Like, this is not what I wanted to do.
Like,
So
even like getting into university, I was like, why am I here? I was like, how was I chosen? But then, like, I think by my 4th year, I was like, okay.
You're like, I've been here 4 years. No one's told me to leave. I think I'm good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
By
think
4th
I'm
year,
supposed to
I was
be
like,
here.
okay, I've mastered the fundamentals of what they tell me I need to know in order to create my art. I was like, okay, and I have a concept that I'm working. I was like, okay, I could do this. I was like, okay, for sure. So I think coming out of university, I was burnt out for a year, you know? So I didn't make anything for a year. So then during that time, I was definitely like, I'm never gonna make art again.
I know that feeling very well. Yes.
And then I applied for a grant and I got it. And I was like, okay, now I need to make art for that grant to send in my final, proposal or whatever, final report. And then I think that kind of jump started me making art again. And then, okay, got back into the headspace and more opportunities came. And okay, it's a steady pace at like making art. And then now I'm like definitely comfortable, like, yeah. I'm an artist,
Yes.
It's actually one of the hardest things to do, so that's good. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm glad that you're there. That's important. And like, being in these bodies in this place is really important.
Absolutely.
Like paving that way makes a big difference.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. We've talked a lot about what we know about your identity, about what we know about your practice.
Okay.
Here's what I want to know. Do we have the same question?
Yes.
Yeah, here it is. How CanAsian are you? The goal is, this is our goal, okay, is to beat Gabby.
What?
Always to beat Gabby.
Number 1, visual artist and muralist Sandeep Johal designed this hockey team's Diwali warm-up jersey in 2022. A. Toronto Maple Leafs. B. Edmonton Oilers. C. Vancouver Canucks.
I think it's the Canucks.
Correct! C. Canucks.
I was ready.
Johal's work centers around stories of women, highlighting female suffering in its many forms, and ultimately stories of resistance and resilience.
That's so cool. Yeah, I remember seeing that on the news and I was like, this is so exciting. So exciting.
I don't think I saw that.
Question 2. Which country has the largest percentage of native-born population living abroad? A. Jamaica. B. Guyana. C. China.
China? Statistically, really? Okay.
Statistically.
Largest percentage.
Oh! I think it's Jamaica.
Wrong.
It's Guyana?
You can answer, just go Guyana.
I'm from the... What?
Oh, hiss. Oh, wow. That's...
And you know what? I should have known. Because statistically, Guyana is teeny tiny, so, like, it would make sense.
Wow.
So,
I second-guessed myself.
so Raneece gets a free point.
Yep, that's
B,
all you.
Guyana. It has the world's biggest diaspora at 36.4%. There are large communities in New York City and the GTA in Toronto, as well as Winnipeg and Edmonton. Jamaica ranked 5th at 28.6%.
I so second-guessed myself. I knew that. I knew that.
Like this is the Al Rashid mosque.
Yeah, it is.
Question 3. Who's the artist behind Hype Industrial Complex? 2023 anthem for the Black and marginalized creators whose cultural cash C-A-C-H-E, and influence is extracted for profit while they go ignored. A. Paul Chin. B. Cardinal Official. C. Tasneem.
I'm gonna go with Cardinal one time.
One time.
Wrong.
I think it's C.
No.
Release.
Oh my
You're cleaning up.
We're getting.
You're cleaning up, Release.
Bernie's
I don't even know what letter is left. Whatever letter is left.
Yeah, she's gonna guess A.
Correct.
Oh wow.
Paul Chin. Paul is based in Toronto and credits his ethos of DIY culture and resourcefulness to his Chinese Jamaican immigrant parents, and drew him to the resilient philosophy of hip hop. Yeah, Paul Chin's really cool.
Can you
So
give
cool.
us like easier questions like that? Would be
Oh.
awesome. Thanks, please.
Know your you know,
I guess,
people
yeah, I
try
don't know
to-
anything.
try to
Yeah, we're
learn
not very
about
CanAsian
Canadian
at
life.
all.
Rouge,
yeah.
okay, that's fair.
Question 4. In 2017, this doctor was appointed to be Canada's Chief Public Health Officer. A. Vivian Poy. B. Olivia Chow. C. Teresa Tam.
B.
Olivia Chow? No.
I'm gonna let you go first. You could.
Is it C?
Is it C?
Correct!
See,
Let's
there
go.
you go.
I got
Yes,
it. I did it
good
all on
job.
my
Well
own.
done.
Thank
We're
you so
very
much.
good Canadians lately. Like, throughout COVID, when all these addresses were going on, we didn't. Anyways. C. Dr. Teresa Tam is an infectious disease specialist born in Hong Kong, raised in the UK, and in 1996 completed a pediatric residency at the University of Alberta.
Cool.
Yeah, I feel like now that he said it, we didn't know that.
You know, maybe I did know it. Maybe I did. I did.
Subconsciously.
All right, last question.
Oh, Raneece, it's you and me.
Who's winning?
We're tied.
Oh, okay. Oh my goodness.
I know.
All right. Before Run the Burbs, comedian and actor Raneece Buddan created and starred in this CBC comedy about a confident but often misinformed second-generation Canadian. A. Gujarati Diaries. B. Note to Self. C. What's Up, Canada?
I have no idea.
I don't know what this is.
I don't know.
B.
Yeah, we know.
Correct! I knew I was right! Only half a point, but you have to say the title of the show.
The Gujarati Diaries?
That was A.
It's B. Note to self.
Correct. Be sure to check out also Raki's BuzzFeed article detailing how she competed with her 6-year-old nephew for her Indian grandmother's love.
Oh boy.
So we have a winner.
Do we actually?
Yeah, we
You're the
do.
tiebreaker.
It's me.
How?
I was just here.
Yeah, this is.
It's me. Gabby,
this-
simmer
this-
down.
This game is rigged. Live. But well, that's our show.
Okay.
But good job, Sue.
Thank you very
Well
much.
done.
Thank you so
on
much.
rigging the game. But before we close off everything with our wonderful guest, Sue would like to ask you one final question.
I would.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're here in this like predominantly very like colonial space, being the artist that you are and in the body that you live in. What would the ideal future of the artistic space in this city look like to you? How does a space best support your practice?
More money. What?
Yeah, that too.
I think it might be a matter of just having more calls that are out for BIPOC individuals. So you can find the artists who are BIPOC. Because I feel like they don't seek us out. So I feel like maybe it's just us creating these cause for ourselves and having these events for ourselves. And in the sense of like more so of an Indo-Caribbean sense, having more Indo-Caribbean events or art events, or so I am aware of like these few exist, like you exist, you know, having those spaces so we're like comfortable in being in those spaces. And I don't know, just more events for us, because it's not gonna happen otherwise, you know, if we don't do it ourselves maybe. Yeah, I feel like just like seeing more of myself in these different spaces, even if it's just us putting it on ourselves, just so you feel like you have a place here, I think.
That makes such a huge difference. Like I, you know, even just like from my own experience too, like I have, like you are one of the first Indo-Caribbean artists I've met, aside from myself, which is wild to me, just so wild. And I find that sometimes we can be so upset that there's a problem that we forget that we can fix it. So I do think that yeah, that was a really good point of like, maybe we just need to do it. So I love that.
Which is great that you two have met, but also sad that it's been this long for you two to have met.
I know.
It's both, bittersweet.
Yeah.
But question for you, where can folks find you online?
You can find me on Instagram at art by Buddan, so that's art by Buddan, or on my website, raneecebuddan.com.
Awesome. Well, folks, we've had an awesome guest. Hopefully you've enjoyed it this entire time. As always, I'm Gabby. And
I'm Sue.
And this has been
This CanAsian Life.
Such an honor to have someone like Raneece, you know, come to the show and to be vulnerable and to share their story, because we have a lot to do, I think, as a society in terms of challenging our perceptions and our paradigms around who is and who identifies as Asian in this country.
We had a great time. Raneece is so cool. Her work is like, it really speaks to me, like personally, you know, from the Indo-Caribbean perspective. So I was like really excited to dive into that. And she's awesome. It was really great.
I also shout out Five Artists One Love.
Five Artists One Love.
Darren Jordan one time. Don't ever say I didn't do anything for you. But yeah, no, that was great to know that that's where we met, and the whole idea of like kind of crossing paths was great to us, and that was the kind of whole theme. It was good that like we all felt the same thing, be it that we were in different mediums. So yeah, fun stuff.
Like when we were kids, I feel like there wasn't really a space like in my school really to have like that specific thing to latch onto, because also my family was really assimilated into Canadian culture. So like seeing things like now in Chinatown and some places they sell like, you know, like Han-fu and like all that stuff. You can get that online, but back in the day you couldn't do that. So I've never actually seen one, never saw one until like 2020, like in person.
It was actually honestly a lot of fun. It was quite refreshing. And then about like halfway through, I realized I was like, I actually have seen this person's artwork, you know, Snap at 40, multiple different venues and stuff like that, as well as Five Artists One Love. I've seen their work there. So once it clicked in, I was like, oh my God, yeah, that makes sense. And it was really refreshing to hear them say that they have full support from their family. Because, you know, coming from more non-Western society, it's very traditional that, you know, you become a doctor, lawyer, something within that facet. So for her to say, you know, there's a lot more pressure from the outside of her family, but her internal family is very supportive, was awesome to hear.